Welcome back to the D-pad.
Dang.
I can't catch anything here.
No.
You can't?
I mean, you can, but you can't use it. Because you already caught something here.
What did I catch here?
Snover.
Oh, but I really like Sneasel.
You got the wrong snuh. Maybe you could get a Snom.
Oh, man.
That's a real shame. You've already got your catch here.
I mean, Sneasel's not even good. I just like him. I think he's cool.
Yeah, Sneasel was kind of I'm trying to remember. I guess it did. I don't remember if Sneasel evolved right away or if.
No, I think they added it later. I think Sneasel was in Gold Silver, and then the next one was in the next one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gen 4 got a lot of evolutions for Gens 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I believe that's the case.
I'm trying to remember its fucking name because I want to
Sneasler?
call it the Sneasler.
Sneasler.
So there's Sneasler that is a fairly new evolution for Sneasel.
Wait, that's a real thing?
That's a real
Yes.
one.
It's called
Weavile.
Sneasler?
Sneasler.
Weavile.
Yeah.
Holy
Weavile,
shit.
yes, that's the one. I think Weavile might be new, like
Yeah.
Gen 3 or 4.
So
New, quote unquote, new compared to when it was
Right.
when the Pokemon was new.
Holy
Sneasler
shit.
So
is
yes,
an
I keep-
ancient Pokemon.
Yes, from
Thank you very
ancient
much.
Hisui, so this region in the past.
Oh, okay.
I keep referring to. All right, so 217, so you can catch a new thing.
Oh,
here.
now I can catch something.
I keep referring to it in Pokemon Legends Arceus as the Sneasler.
The Sneasler.
Just because the name, it sounds like a Dr. Seuss character.
So what happens when one Sneasels you?
You get Sneaseled.
What does that mean?
Exactly.
Like, if I came home crying and I was at a party and I got Sneaseled, what would you tell me to do?
I would tell you should write everything down and maybe call the police.
Okay, so it's not a good thing.
It's probably not.
I would take a
wouldn't
quick
say-
once over to see if you were just like if some like gang had like sneezed on you and you were covered
Yep.
in snot.
Or weasels.
That would be my first guess. But if you weren't covered in snot from an assault, I really wouldn't know where to go with that.
How's my
so-
audio?
I get that.
exists.
Sneasel is probably sneaky and weasel, but my brain keeps wanting to say sneeze and weasel. Which, granted, it's also ice, right? It's ice and dark.
The sneeze weasel.
Yeah, I guess some people think the cold makes you sneeze.
That would have been a great regional variant for Sneasler. For Sneasel. One that is, like, visibly, like, got the cold or a flu or something.
Sure.
Got the
Sniffle.
cold or a flu. That's good. That's good use of those articles. Definitely not backwards at all.
The
I mean,
cold.
Well, how can we say a cold but the flu? Especially
There-
when the flu
Well,
is not a singular flu.
The
It's
flu
one of a
is
family of
a
flu.
more specific cold, so maybe it crosses that uncanny
Well, no,
valley
cold and a flu
threshold.
are different.
of-
Yeah, I mean they're different.
Yeah,
Well,
those
we
are good
use
ones.
cold.
there's-
I understand, but we use cold to mean a kind of sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
colloquially.
like I've got a head
That's
cold.
how we talk.
Isn't
Right.
like necessarily
Right, sure. You
literally.
say I've got a cold, but it doesn't mean necessarily that you're infected with a rhinovirus.
Yeah.
Right.
It means your immune system is responding to something.
Right. Although I don't know if that holds though, because we don't say we have the cancer or the lung cancer.
Yeah,
No,
we
but
don't
you
even use
also
an article for that.
Don't generally know that on your own.
I didn't
Yeah,
see who's
yeah.
coming out. So
Whereas, like,
hi,
the
papadas.
colloquial "I've got a cold" is a self observation.
Yeah.
In
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
In Japan-
you're not like I've got the cancer. Most of the time, it doesn't have any, like you don't
Especially-
feel it until it starts to be big enough that it's pushing on something.
I was gonna say, granted, like it also is so amorphous in its like ability to like do other stuff too and become other kinds of.
Right.
It's more of a. There's a name for it. Uncountable. It's a term that refers to like, oh, I would like some water, right? Like it's a quantity of it, but you can't say I want a water. Like if you say I want a water, you're probably referring to like a bottle of water. But you don't
Right.
refer to water, the liquid, by saying I want a water
Right,
or I
right,
want the water or something. Like you just say I want water. Same thing with this, where it's like, okay, it's not a cancer, even though it starts out as a specific kind of. You certainly don't say
Oh,
the
no.
cancer because there is no the cancer really.
Well, you say the AIDS. You've got the
I mean,
AIDS.
right? Like that is at
I mean,
least
that's-
one.
That's sort of
That's not
jokey.
proper grammar.
No,
but
I know.
People
But it
do
is at
say
least
that.
it is at least closer, right? AIDS and HIV are a specific
What a
thing.
depressing fucking grammatical episode.
I know this one's some weird.
We
fucking
went in a weird.
directions.
The
Well,
fun
so-
fact I was gonna say is that when you're in Japan, if you get a cold, they say that you've got a bad wind, which I think is really interesting.
Oh, that's fun.
I should have taken this guy off of my front.
So like, to bring it back to the beginning though, I find it very interesting that we say the flu, especially considering the flu is never one variant. It's a new variant every year that hits people. Essentially, it just mutates.
But
so
it's a
quickly.
variant of the flu.
There are. I mean,
Yeah, it's a variant of influenza. Yeah.
well, there are several like strains going in parallel, and they
Yeah.
have to sort of
They guess. They do their best.
Guess which ones are, or which one is sort of the middle of the pack.
Yeah,
they're
trying to pick the most impactful vectors to jump in front of.
Yeah.
They're trying to predict the vector.
It sounds made up. I'm kidding.
I mean, like, it's weird to think about that they kind of have to essentially do a weather forecast.
It's
of
like damage
mass
control.
infection.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, it's very, very. I can't imagine many more. It's probably like a really stressful job to have to analyze that stuff and essentially be like, no matter what we do, this is ultimately best guess. Just with a lot of evidentiary like backing, but it is still guesswork ultimately.
I don't want to bring the mood down, but you guys remember COVID?
I do.
Like that had to suck.
Hard to forget.
Yeah.
That one's.
Yeah.
Ask me again in 60 years, and
Had
we'll
it
see.
a couple of times. That was
Same.
You know.
Yep. Got it
It
once,
wasn't
don't
that
want to
bad
get it
for me,
again.
really, because I had been vaccinated and boosted. And
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. I have
was the
not
wild-
had any boosters lately. Are people still doing that?
I think some people are electing to. I don't think that it's at this point. COVID has mutated in a way that
It's much
spreads
more like
easily,
a normal
but
cold.
it is way less
Yeah.
damaging.
Yeah.
Right.
After I got it 3 times, I was like, I'm not gonna fucking get vaccinated anymore. It's not doing anything.
The yeah,
It's
the
not
last
that
time
it's
I
not
got
doing anything.
boosted-
I want to be very clear.
Yeah.
I fully support the science.
honestly-
I believe in vaccination. It makes a big difference. It makes it
Well,
less severe. I'm not being that guy.
between the vaccinations you did get and getting it 3 times, you probably have just shitloads of antibodies
Exactly.
to work with.
And I got it early. I got it before the vaccines were even available.
Yeah.
You guys,
remember
you guys took care
we
of me.
were
I
locked
know.
in that room for
Yup.
like John was essentially
15 days.
Yep, he essentially was locked into that room, came out to use the bathroom, and go back to the room for straight up 2 weeks.
Yep.
You guys left food at my door like a prisoner, and genuinely
Yeah.
I appreciate it because
No,
that would have
absolutely.
sucked without you guys.
Yeah, I don't know. We were like, okay, we have two realistic options. Well, 3 realistic options. One, we have John order a bunch of food and just bring it up to him. That seems mean. 2, we buy like a hot plate and some stuff, and we essentially deliver groceries up to you. Which like that also feels kind of weird and strange.
It's tough in that
mean.
8x8 room.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, just give us instructions on how to make some of the things that you like making, and we
I
will
kept
just
it pretty
make
simple.
food
I was
for
like,
you.
just soups.
Yeah.
You know, like but
Right,
I
soup ain't
truly
bad.
am grateful. You guys were
Soups
great.
and stews are like easy to do and like pretty hard to fuck up.
Yep.
And they are tasty as hell. I could do stews for like at least several
Still
days in a
didn't
row.
move much.
I think
Yeah,
I would start
son
to
of a
crave a little more substance after a bit, but
I like to have the soup slowly morph into a stew as you go.
yeah,
Because you like, you know, you eat about half of it as that soup, and then you like add some more ingredients and a little more water,
Yep.
and like
And eventually
change it
get
up
a-
a little bit, and it starts being thicker
denser-
with more stuff in it, and then
Yeah.
you like end up with a stew at the end.
yeah, Sarah and I were both vaccinated. We both were double vaxxed. I forget if we were triple vaxxed when we got it. I think, was it only a year ago? I think it was last year. I think it was last May. So a little over a year ago, we
Wow.
both got it.
Time is so weird.
And yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
And
because that
it
was around the same time
absolutely-
that I got it, but not
Oh, yeah,
from the
that's
same
right.
vector.
Because there was also, I think Lindsay also had it around
Yeah.
the same time from another different vector. And we all, I think literally, because I want to say a little over a week after Sarah and I got sick.
Fuck the
So
menu. I'll
not-
just do it in battle.
Not enough time for us to feel comfortable like going out and seeing people or anything, you know, and worrying about infecting people. But I think both you and Lindsay were over because we're like, okay, we've all been sick within the last like 2 weeks. We're not going to get each other cross-contaminated sick at this point. We've
Right.
got it. So the 4 of us just recorded a bunch of stuff that weekend because we're like, all right,
Yeah.
let's hang on, do that.
Whatever. We're all currently on COVID watch.
Yeah.
So
Easily the most flattened I've ever been
Yeah.
by anything in my life.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Not even.
I knew
can't
it hit you
even-
hard. I don't think I realized it was the worst thing you've ever had.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Man, I was really lucky. I don't think
I wasn't.
I knew I was lucky, but man, it didn't hit me that
like
bad.
I wasn't like bedbound or anything. I wanted to be.
Right.
I didn't let myself be.
You couldn't
I
sleep,
should
though.
have. Sleep. Yeah. The first night, Sarah and I both straight up didn't sleep at all. We couldn't. We were in bed for like 9 hours, just rolling around and conscious the whole time.
see, I got the flu
Yeah.
pretty bad a couple of times.
The
as a
flu,
Kid. Yep,
everybody.
the flu.
Yeah, right.
As a kid, a couple of times, it was really bad. It like clockwork for a whole window of time.
Yeah.
I would get the flu on February break and be sick for my birthday.
Yeah. It sounds like me with Christmas and colds. I every single
fucking
year
year.
at Christmas I get sick.
Every fucking year. It's
Every
got to be
Christmas.
psychosomatic to some degree.
Oh, probably. I think I'm expecting it now, so my body's
Right.
like, all right, ramp all those antibodies up.
And for the record, I
you're gonna be
believe in
overheated.
psychosomatic stuff. I'm not saying that makes you crazy or that it's
No,
not
no,
real.
no.
If you-
I think that actually is real.
If
No,
you put
absolutely
yourself
it is,
into
but-
a stressed state, your immune system gets suppressed, and you're
Right.
more likely to come down with the thing
Yep.
that you would otherwise just defeat.
Well,
Because
and
you catch a cold all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You just usually
Every
beat it
couple
to
days,
death.
you're basically catching a cold. Your body just goes, "Oh, I got this," and you get it. It's the worst. It's the worst versions of it that you do catch that actually are
Yeah.
noticeable.
right.
Like honestly, just even feeling like a little bit like just a little more tired one day than normal. You probably are sick with something, but your body went,
Right.
"We got this. It's fine."
right.
Just
Nipped it in the bud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, COVID was. I felt miserable. The first like 3-4 days were fucking terrible, and I was also very glad I wasn't working at my current job yet. I was supposed to start a week after I got COVID, and I told them this was a different place that I interviewed at. I've told this story before. They were like. A few weeks before they wanted me to come, I went in for an interview,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh, you can lose the mask if you want." I was like, "I'm good." Like this was still like Omicron was still a thing, so I was like, "I'm good. I'm going to keep this on." But they were also like, "No remote work whatsoever.
Oh,
You have to
wow.
be coming in for this." Like there were a bunch of things there that I was like, I don't really think
It wasn't
this
a
is gonna
match
work. But I
made
was
in heaven.
no, but I was desperate for a job at that point,
Right,
so I was
right,
like,
right.
all right. But I told him like, hey, I know my start date is next Monday, but I just tested positive for COVID, so I'm not going to be good for at least one more week after that. Like if we could set the start date for
Yeah.
like June 17th or whatever the day was, like that's probably fine. And they went, oh, well, that's fine. After 5 days, you're not contagious anyway, so if you come in on that Monday, and I'm just like,
I'm not comfortable with that.
yeah, I was like, I feel like you're missing at least 3 different things about what I just told you. Not to mention, when that Monday did come around, I was miserable still. I was horribly sick.
Yeah, of
I can't
course.
even imagine starting a job feeling like that.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's
what
how
you
you introduce yourself to everyone. Hey, everyone, I'm Rick. I feel like shit. Like,
yeah.
You know, like,
I
that's
got
awful.
COVID 6 days ago, so I hope everybody's
and then
very
everyone's
cool
gonna treat
sitting
you like
next
a
to me.
leper. Like,
Yeah. No.
it's a terrible idea. Whoever did that is an idiot.
It was off, and so
I'll
like,
say it right now on this podcast. You're an idiot.
yeah. Well, I mean, like I
not
emailed
even
them
a
back
podcast.
later that day because I thought about it for a little bit and was like, I need to.
I'm an idiot too.
I can't jump to conclusions. I have to like think this through, be very sure about what I'm about to say next. Because if I
If you play it wrong, you lose the job.
Did you just say to them, "Are you a bunch of anti-vaxxer bros?"
I wanted to very badly. This was for a pharma company too.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I was like,
Well,
I was so blown away by the fact that they didn't care about that.
Well,
I was like,
I don't know
really?
when
super
exactly-
spreader event in
Oh, I know,
Massachusetts
Biogen.
was a pharmaceutical convention.
Yep. I actually had to ask because at the time I was working for a home care education company, and I asked around. I was essentially like, hey, did anybody go to that? Does anybody know someone who went? And everyone was like, no, we don't even know anybody who went there. And like, all right, awesome, cool.
I don't remember exactly when in the process this was, but like at some point the government did say like technically after 5 days you're not contagious, so you can go back to work.
Yeah,
But, like,
the
that's
CDC
so shitty.
The CDC
Like-
started getting nudged pretty firmly.
Right, it's
at
unclear
various
whether that
points.
was
Right.
how much of that was the science versus how much of that was the pressure versus
So even in the state
Among other-
government here, which is pretty liberal,
Yep.
it did eventually get down to 5 days, but also symptom-free.
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Like-
people glossed over that symptom-free part
They
because
sure did.
you can have symptoms for months after, depending on how it goes if you're unlucky.
Yep.
Right,
So,
and
yeah,
if you're
5
still
days,
symptomatic, then they have to do other more stringent tests
Right.
before you can be cleared for work.
'cause it's
Or you should stay out.
The rule
because
is
you're still
essentially-
actively sick.
it went from 2 weeks to 10 days, and it was essentially 10 days or 5 days symptom free,
No, that's not the one I wanted to hit.
whichever comes first.
I didn't mean to hit that button.
Because like, yeah, if you're still experiencing symptoms but you're 2 weeks in, it's like, okay, you're sick, but like the contagious part of this is gone at this point. Like at that point, 2 weeks in, like you can go out there, but like people will probably look at you sideways a little bit while Omicron and Delta and all that shit was flying around.
Yeah.
Dude, it was so bad. Like when I got it in January, was it? Like
It was, yeah.
I walked 3 miles to the testing site because I didn't want to risk the Uber driver I might call.
Yep.
Like-
Sarah and I, we drove in Sarah's car because we were like, yep, we definitely need to go
But
there.
walking
on our
3
own.
miles in the snow when you're fucking sick.
Yep.
That's like the worst.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
The snow makes it
Round
terrible.
trip,
Honestly,
6 miles.
with how much I was overheating fucking like crazy
Yeah.
when I got it. I wouldn't have minded walking around a little bit in the winter.
That's probably what I told myself. I was just happy to get the fresh air.
Yeah, fresh air, cold air. Oh, thank God.
You have to be very, very
Speaking of
particular
cold,
with
hail.
your zipper for like temperature control with
Yeah.
the jacket in the winter.
I'm always fucking hot anyway.
Yep, same. I overheat a ton, but like,
No,
yeah,
no.
you keep your
Like,
torso as warm as you
Nope.
can. Your extremities are gonna need that heat to come out from your core.
The one thing that I've never closed on my jacket, which is an expedition grade jacket from working at the ice castle, is
Yep.
the armpit vents.
Oh, yeah.
Those are so good.
Oh, I believe it. I feel like there's plenty of times where I'll have a coat and I'll literally just start doing the underarm like pop move here, where you kind of tent your shirt or your
Is that
jacket.
the rock climb that lets me climb up those stupid things?
It will be, I think. Is that rock?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know if you have access to it yet. You might want to check your watch first. I think the gym that you do next will give you access to
Alright.
that.
Right, because like having the move means that you will be able to put it on the Pokemon.
Is
Yes.
the move good? 90, 85 accuracy.
Yeah, it's not bad as normal
May
type moves
It's
go.
confuse.
just normal?
Yeah, as
I don't know
normal
how
type
many
moves,
normies-
that's not horrible.
Actually, Starmander's a normie, but he can't learn it. So, fuck him.
Yeah, because he doesn't have anything to climb rocks with.
All right, let's see. He's got talons. Actually, I feel like wings are the best things with which to climb rocks.
You just poke your wing into the wall and then be on your way.
What's up? It had the new rock on it. Hey, what are you
Oh.
TM?
Oh?
Icicle plate.
Now you
Alright,
can
so
make Arceus very cold.
Awesome.
Few beings were born to time. I love that
Time and
like the
space.
plates do have their text like in the original games, and they decided to bring that back as like a meaningful thing in Legends Arceus too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, why don't we come back next time? John is making his way through the frigid white north, and we'll keep on trekking through the snow.
Canada?